Oh. Turn my volume up.
It's a Scream, baby. It's go time. What is up, everybody? How's everybody doing? It's hot in this freaking ghost face mask. Jesus, but the things we do for entertainment, right? Say hi, Zack. Uh-oh. Zack? I can't hear you. That's very strange. Chat, tell me if you can hear Zack. Because I can't hear him. Hold on. Yeah, we look really stupid right now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Did you do something?
No, I'm good. I turned down the volume on my YouTube app.
Oh, is that what it is? Your YouTube?
Yeah, YouTube. For some reason, it's mono right now. Like, I can only hear you in one speaker. It's really weird.
That's very strange.
Yeah.
I'm going to take off my mask now. Do you want to take off your mask?
I can definitely take this off now because it's very hot.
I think that's a good idea. Why don't we do that?
Chat, excuse us for a second.
Yes, we shall take off our masks now.
Whew.
Whew. Oh, man.
Oh. I can actually hear
the chat can see my bed head.
No.
Right.
No,
Zach's got a Halloween shirt on. Oh, that's so much better. Jesus. That's a lot better.
Yes.
Let me get my chat up here.
I couldn't see anything.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's Scream week, and when I planned this thing, I planned it before the announcement that Scream 5 had wrapped. So, I guess that's just perfect timing on our part, right, Zack?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
I should put my ear. Okay, say something again, Zack. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I hear you fine. Let me know in the chat if if Zack sounds really low and I sound really high, and or vice versa, because I like, I'm kind of obsessive about these things. All right, I hate to go back. Have you ever went back Have you ever went back on a stream? You watch it the next day and you're just like, there's so many freaking daggers being thrown at you, and you're just like, oh god damn, I hate this.
Well, I go back to the live streams of 2015.
Yeah. Oh my God, those were the rough days.
That's real bad.
Technical difficulties with every single one. It was
technical
insane.
difficulties every time. Half of a commentary not there. Just not a good time.
No, not a good time at all. Hey, we got a super chat. Hold on, let me grab this super chat real quick.
Oh, awesome.
Thanos. He says, "I'm sad it's not called Scream 5." Ooh, you know what? I think that's a good icebreaker. Let's talk about that real quick. You know what? Why not? Let's just freaking rip the Band-Aid right off. How do we feel about that? The title just being Scream, Zack?
Well, here's the deal. If you know the franchise and like, I'm talking to everybody face to face right now. If you know the franchise and you know that this is indeed a sequel, do not worry about what it's called. You know what it is. Just roll with it. I'm cool with it. People did the same thing with Halloween.
Yeah, and I was going to bring that up too, because Halloween 2018. Well, I mean, shit, freaking Halloween, man. Continuity went out the window like freaking 20 years ago, including with the numbers.
How many Halloween 2s? There's 2 Halloween 2s. There's technically 3 direct sequels to Halloween. There's so much. I mean,
it's hard to keep up with it all. And Scream's the only stable franchise numbers wise so far. I mean, it's been 1 through 4 religiously, and now I think that's part of the reason too why people are a little upset, because oh man, we 1, 2, 3, 4, we were good, we almost had a 5, and then no. I think my reasoning is this is obviously the start of something new. We don't have Wes Craven anymore. Brand new set of directors. They might have a trilogy in mind for this. So why not start fresh, call it Scream? But then you get yourself in trouble because what do you call the next movie? Scream Resurrection? I don't. Actually, that's what they called the TV series.
This is what we call Scream, the sequel. Scream 2.
So now there's 2 Scream 2s? I don't know
or
about
what
that.
I said, or what did I say the other night? The Screaming.
The Screaming could work. I don't know. You know what? I think what they'll have to do is they'll have to latch on to something in the plot of this movie and maybe give that like the tagline behind the name of the movie for the next movie, because they can't call it Scream 2. That's just going to really annoy people.
I actually, I've been watching 3C Films a lot, Chris, with his updates of Scream, the new movie, and I actually liked his idea of them calling it Ghostface for a long time. Like, just calling the new franchise Ghostface. You
could do that. I mean, just wipe away the name Scream altogether. And because you know what? They don't even, like, the word Scream, they don't even, like, say Scream that often in the franchise anyway, right? So.
Right. Like, I think they say it a couple of times. It's not really, that's not really what it is. You know what I mean? Honestly, there's no references to Scream throughout the franchise.
Yeah. And Blood Red Skies, he makes a good point there. Halloween, Scream, Candyman, all are doing this. I think the Roman numerals are just numbers in general. It seems like it's a thing of the past. Yes, it exists. It does happen. But it's not like it was in the 80s where you had to have that number behind it. These days, it seems like they're trying to put a little bit more thought into the titles. Not to say that just calling this Scream is putting thought into it, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it that much.
So I think the thing is, and a lot of people have said it's been on multiple websites, is that they aren't numbering it because they don't want to confuse people that haven't seen the original series. I mean, Scream 4 bombed because of that. Scream 4 bombed because nobody knew what the story was. They thought that there was so much there that they didn't know, so they didn't go see it. And if you just call this movie Scream, people will go see it.
Yeah, and I can't imagine anybody that is seeing this that hasn't seen the original, because even though it has been, 25 years, almost 25 years now, there's something about the Scream franchise that feels fresh. And I've even thought in my head that Scream was the start of the Millennium Slasher. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
And by millennium, I'm not talking time-wise. I'm talking about feel, tone, even down to the look of the actors. Scream started all that. And I think Scream's gotten in trouble with some fans. There are people that are not fans of Scream at all because they like their dirty, gritty slashers, and Scream's not that really.
No, it was the first real modern horror film, and I know a lot of people tell me "Oh, it came out almost 30 years ago. How is it modern?" I mean, it's definitely not the movies from the 80s.
It feels the first movie used cell phones. Right? And cell phones are live today, but it all started with Scream. That actually happened. And actually not just using cell phones, but the cell phone was an integral part of the actual plot. Thank you, Horror Minx, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the no rules thing? There was another thing there. Thoughts on no rules. What do you think of that? No rules in the new Scream movie. No rules.
Well, I've always thought that was kind of a thing with the Scream franchise. Is no rule, because they're the ultimate whodunits. You're usually going to get more than one killer,
right?
So it feels like to just follow a normal pattern, the tried and true. That doesn't work for Scream. You have to shock your audience with every single movie, and I can imagine for Kevin Williamson, just that pressure. That stress. Right. Okay, I created this amazing twist. Shit. Right. Now I got to top it.
Right.
That's
tough.
I
think that, and this is beautiful. I mean, for Scream to be the franchise that has all these rules for each one, the first one broke all of the rules where all the characters knew that they were in a horror movie. The second one made fun of sequels. The third one was about trilogies. The fourth one was reboots. If this new movie, considering that every other franchise right now is calling back to the past and going retro, and this one says, nope, we're not doing that anymore. We're gonna be a straight up slasher, going the complete opposite of the entire franchise and 90% of any other horror movie that's coming out right now. It's brilliant.
You know what? That would be, and Chris Snyder, I'm going to get to your comment here in just a second, but that would be a twist in and of itself. And let me just state this real quick. If you have not seen Terror Train, duck away for, I'd say 2 minutes, all right? Because I'm going to bring up Terror Train, all right? Terror Train had it was that rare slasher that the killer was who you thought it was. From the start of the movie, you're thinking, oh, yeah, he's going to be the killer. But it's set up like a whodunit. So, when I first watched Terror Train, I thought, there's no way this guy's going to be the killer because it's just too damn obvious. And lo and behold, he was the killer. I've never seen, there might be one other case of that, I'm not sure, but I've never seen a slasher do that, a whodunit, and it actually is it's who you think it is. It's like,
April Fool's Day, maybe? The original?
Sort of, but, and again,
April
spoilers, if you haven't seen April Fool's Day. I will say, I thought that was a better, I thought April Fool's Day was a better twist. Honestly, because I thought people were being killed, and that was genius that they pulled the rug out from under you at the end, and lo and behold, nobody died. To me, that was a shock. That was a surprise. Whereas with Terror Train, I was like, wait, the guy that I thought was the killer, he's the killer throughout the whole movie? So
also, just to let people know, April Fool's Day was remade. Don't watch it. It's terrible.
Okay, I'm going to go to Chris Snyder's super chat now. Probably not intentional, but what does Scream do best? Poke fun at the current horror trends. Right now, the current horror trend is those titles. Halloween, Candyman, Scream's title, even pokes fun. Yeah, you know what? Chris brings up a good point. What if they called this Scream because that is a direct nod to the plot of the film? Scream always... I don't want to say pokes fun, but yeah, they do poke fun at the current trends in horror. And right now, the current trend is the overdue sequel and completely disregarding the previous sequels. And I think that's what this one might do. I don't know if it'll disregard. I don't think it's going to disregard.
Do that.
Yeah, they can't be, especially if they're bringing back Sidney Prescott. All those.
The original 3 are coming back.
Yeah, so you can't disregard.
Like the thing that I wanted when this first was coming out was them disregarding 2 and 3 and just having 1 and 4 in the new movie. But not enough people have seen 4. A lot of people hate 4.
Yeah, and you get yourself into trouble when you do stuff like that too.
I mean, I would personally be okay with 2 and 3 not existing, but whatever. And I'm a huge Scream fan, just to let you know.
I was actually gonna get into that, and I'll ask you that right now before we get. We're gonna break open the news. We're gonna go through that news story a little bit, but I don't know if I've ever asked you this, Zach. But everybody's got their favorite franchises, and there's always a story behind that, and there's always like some kind of spark that grabbed them. What was it with you that gravitated you towards Scream above all other slasher franchises?
Scream. Okay. So when I was like 6, yes, I was 6 when the movie came out in 1996. I saw it in probably 97. So I saw it. I Know What You Did Last Summer and a couple other movies from the 90s, all in that span of time.
Yeah,
and I loved that movie so much because it was hilarious. Loved every character in it. And that's pulled me in.
It's very well written. Like I even think that. Like I think Scream has the edge in terms of writing and characters. Like Kevin Williamson doesn't just phone it in, and you can do that with a slasher. All you have to do is just fill in a few little story gaps, and you got your slasher. Throw in some good kills, maybe some TNA, you're good. Scream takes it further. It actually says, you know what? Let's try something different. Let's tell a really good story. Let's make it to where anybody could be the killer. And so that's a lot of pressure on a writer to be able to do that. So I definitely give Scream. I have my problems with the Scream franchise because I'm not the biggest fan of the quote unquote millennium slasher, even though I can still have fun with it. I guess that was my next question for you too. I know that Scream's your favorite franchise. Do you prefer millennium slashers over all other slashers?
No, I mean, if you know that we're there when I started my channel, I reviewed a lot of newer stuff.
Yeah.
It's just what I like, but I do like older movies too. Like, I like old slashers. Like, I have all the Halloween movies, and I have a few of the like classics from the 80s, like The Burning and Chopping Mall and all that stuff. Like, I like those movies too, and I appreciate them. I dig the newer movies a little bit better. You know what I mean? I dig the early 2000s feel. I thought that was a really fun time in horror.
Yeah.
That really never gets talked about. And I love it.
You know what? I'm all for a slasher trend, a slasher resurgence. I don't care if it's millennium. I don't care if it's the gritty 80s style. I don't care if it's the, you know how they say like new metal, new slasher.
Right.
I just like when there's a trend, because that means there's more opportunities for new stories. And I don't think there has been a slasher resurgence in quite a while. I want one so bad, but it seems like every time we get a slasher, it's either A, few and far between, or B, they're bottom of the barrel, B-level, shitty acting, not to be taken seriously. The A-level slasher is all but gone. It's just weird.
Right. I mean, it's so weird. We were just talking about this the other day, that there's not much of a difference with what we're doing now compared to what we did in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, it's typically the same thing. Not the strongest acting, a cool score, it looks good, it's got a badass killer, but there's just something missing, and I can't figure out what exactly it is.
Well, I think consistency. If I had to guess, I'd say consistency. Like in the 80s, man, every year, you didn't just have a brand new Friday movie, a brand new Nightmare movie, but you had all these one-offs, Terror Train, you had freaking Tourist Trap, and a million of those. Right. And then you had 3 or 4 or 5 franchises. I mean, it was hard to keep up with all of it in the 80s. It was like, I don't know, it was just like the well was just full. Whereas now it's just few and far between.
It might be like back then, right? Horror was very profitable. Like for the big franchises, they made a lot of money. So everybody else was out there trying to get their film out there. And in my opinion, you had a lot of really talented people working for one goal. And that's why we had so many awesome slashers and just horror in general back then. Now, it's not really that thing anymore. It's a lot easier to make a film now than it was back then. So you don't have to do as many practical effects. You don't have to do, a lot of the stuff that you used to have to do back in the 70s and 80s to achieve a really good horror movie. Now you can pay a graphic or a computer animator to do half your shit for you. Yeah. And it costs half as much. So.
Well, I mean, you just think of like all these Indiegogo campaigns. I mean, there's a new Indiegogo campaign every week, and that didn't exist. Even in like when Scream came out, that didn't exist. Right.
No.
I think that kind of started a little bit with that Project Greenlight thing that Matt Damon started like back in the early 2000s. I remember when he started that, and it was just a way to help young filmmakers get their movie off the ground. In a way, Indiegogo, it kind of is the same type deal. If you don't have the funds, now we have this big internet horror community, and we can make the movies now. It's kind of cool. I mean, we can even like get a say sometimes in where the movie's going to go, which is strange. Exactly. But I think the chance for a slasher resurgence is better now than ever because of COVID. And because studios aren't going to want to spend $200 million on a movie without really, really thinking about the marketing and all that stuff now, because the marketing is hard these days. I mean, shit, Wonder Woman this is freaking historical. Wonder Woman, a $200 million movie is coming out on streaming and theaters on the same day. This is historical.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And they automatically know. Like if they had to put their money on the table, that movie's gonna bomb financially. And it could be a great movie, but there's no way it's gonna make back that money. So,
oh no way.
And that's why you have a chance. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Zach.
I said you'll be hard pressed to find a horror film that has a budget over
exactly
$40 million.
Yep.
And that's low budget for a horror film.
Halloween 2018, $10 million.
The original Nightmare on Elm Street had a $5 million budget.
Yeah.
And Saw had $1 million budget.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, horror it's that you can squeeze a lot out of that turnip and end up with a good horror movie, Whereas these action movies, these science fiction movies, I mean, you could freaking put the budget of just one horror movie alone into, 30 minutes of the CGI,
Right.
But hey, let's jump into the actual news story, because I swear we get to flowing, All right, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. So let me go over to the news now. Actually, yeah, I got it pulled up. Okay. So got the news article up here, hot off the press. This just dropped a couple days ago, and I'm gonna read it for you guys. I pre-read it earlier today just to see if there's any. I was looking for two words, Matthew and Lillard, but I didn't see any of those two words. that's really that's my number one want out of this movie. I want fucking Stu to come back. I really do.
Well, you might get something related to Stu, so we'll see.
We'll see what happens. So longtime fans of the Scream franchise know that it's one shrouded in as much secrecy as possible to preserve the surprises in store, especially when it comes to the identity of the killer. After all, the beloved 1996 slasher movie and its sequels are whodunits, where, as Randy Meeks aptly put it, everybody's a suspect. That means that so far, practically everything about upcoming Scream is shrouded in mystery, that we've lost the franchise's driving force, Wes Craven. In the decades since we released the previous installment, only further exacerbates the natural curiosity of what a new sequel could entail. Namely, could the series continue without his unique touch? That's kind of the question that has been up in the air even before this was announced, is like, how do we continue Scream without Wes Craven? And my argument to that was, I mean, pick a franchise. If you have one director doing two of the movies, you're lucky. But somehow we still got good movies in the Halloween. I don't think
they didn't even have two movies with one director.
Yeah, Halloween you got Halloween 2 and Resurrection were both by.
Well, true.
Yeah, that's the only instance of it. Rick Rosenthal.
You're getting ready to have a first time that one director has done 3 Halloween movies.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean. Yes, you can definitely have a great movie. And you know what? It kind of interests me even more because now we're in uncharted territory. Wes Craven's not directing this anymore. We have 2 fresh, young directors. They just proved themselves with
very talented.
Yeah, very talented. With what was the last movie they just did?
Ready or Not.
Yeah. Ready or Not was awesome. And they even stated, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but they even stated in this article that Scream was a massive influence on Ready or Not. They wanted to have that tone, that flavor in the movie, and it's there. You can see Scream DNA in there.
It's there because it's not only is it horror, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And that's the vibe of Scream. I love it. And all the other sequels tried to do that and did not do it. None of them could do it. None of them could give you that same vibe. The only one for me that was close was 4.
Yeah, I really, and we're gonna dig deep into the actual franchise later because I'm like chomping at the bit to talk about Scream 3, but I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna wait because I just gave Scream 3 a fresh watch, and I hadn't seen that movie since I reviewed it like 5 years ago. And I don't know. It's just I'm that type of guy though. Like a movie, it can depend on my mood. It can depend. A lot of factors can come into play on how much I like a movie or not. And I watched Scream 2 and Scream 3 this week, and I ended up enjoying. I'll go ahead and talk about it. I ended up enjoying Scream 3 because I'm already like I'm on a rant here. I was watching Scream 2 and I started getting annoyed with it because the kill scenes. Yeah, I'm all for stretching out a scene and giving it tension, and so that by the time the kill happens, you're like, yes, that was great, that was everything. John Carpenter, a freaking master at that. Scream 2, I just felt like the scenes were stretched out just to be for padding, just to be stretched out. Right. I did love the Cece scene, Sarah Michelle Gellar. That is like one of my favorite kill scenes in Scream. But
great.
It just, like every kill scene, it just felt like that. Right. And before I jump to Scream 3, give me your thoughts on Scream 2. Would you agree with what I'm saying there?
See, I love the franchise, obviously.
Yeah.
Scream 2 is my least favorite movie in the franchise. I've wanted to like this movie. I've tried to give it several attempts. I've gave it several tries. I've watched it I don't know how many times in marathons.
Same here.
And I never get into it. Like, I really like Neve Campbell in it. She's great. She's better than she was in the first movie. Randy is awesome in it. Jamie Kennedy.
That's the one scene that I do love when you have Randy and Dewey having that little get. That's gold. That's a great freaking scene. Hold on, let me let my dog out. Okay. Jesus.
I'll wait till he gets back. Let's field the chat. Finally, Scream 2 for me is down after. Yes. Scream 2 doesn't have an opening call. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, which is interesting. Did you see that in the chat?
What happened?
Moser Movie Review said Scream 2 does not have an opening call.
Oh, what do you mean by opening call?
Like when someone gets a phone call from Ghostface?
Oh, yeah. Well, but that's because it starts in a movie theater.
It starts in the movie theater, and then you get the other opening with Neve. When you see Neve for the first time, and then she gets the call.
And that's just like a throwaway call. She's like, whatever, fuck you.
The first real call in the movie is Cece's.
Cece, yeah. Great scene. And just to kind of bounce off of you, I've thought that Scream 2 was better than it actually was, but I have always had a problem with the movie. And I think the big thing is I think people give it so much credit because it's a lot like the first movie. Mm-hmm. It does have an interesting reveal at the end, but to me, I think it tries too hard to be like the first movie and fails. Also, one thing I was noticing with this is I'm always interested in who Sydney is dating, and I mean Billy Loomis, such an interesting character. There's this like dark, brooding nature to him. Mm-hmm. Derek, it dawned on me, nobody ever talks about Derek. Ever. Derek is the most uninteresting character in the franchise, I think, and this is the guy that's dating Sidney Prescott.
I talk about Derek. The fact that he's useless.
And nothing against Jerry O'Connell. I freaking love Jerry O'Connell in Stand By Me. He's great, scene stealer, but I just didn't think he was the right fit for Scream.
Well, I said this in my original review of Scream 2. I do not think for 1 second that she would have a boyfriend.
Yeah, that's probably she probably would steer clear.
I don't buy that she has a boyfriend. Here's the deal. He would have been a much more believable red herring if they weren't together and he was chasing her the whole time.
Yeah. That's another thing too, is like they were constantly setting this guy up to be the killer, and I wasn't buying it. I was like, he's not the killer. There's no way. Mm-hmm. And even if he is the killer, you got to pull a rabbit out of that hat to make that interesting, because thankfully Derek wasn't the killer. I really liked Mickey. I'm not the biggest fan of Mrs. Loomis because I think she's a Pamela Voorhees knockoff. And
see, that's what I really like, because you might have to do something with your video because you froze quite a bit ago.
Let me see. Hold on just a second.
But I'll talk about that. That's what I really like about the Mrs. Loomis character, because I love Friday the 13th, and I was like, this is awesome. This is like a cross of Mrs. Bates and Mrs. Voorhees in one character, and she pulls it off for me. I know a lot of people say that she's over the top, but it's a horror movie, and she's the she was Jackie and Roseanne, so.
I liked her in Roseanne, yeah. I mean, Laurie Metcalf's a great actress, great comedy actress. I don't think they used her that much in the movie either. That was another problem I had. She just kind of like, she showed up for a couple scenes in the movie, not enough to make her interesting, and then boom, she pops up right at the end of the movie. You know?
See, I think she perfectly works for me. Mickey is the one that doesn't.
I turned off my video, by the way. What it was is I had two, because I got my external webcam, and then I got my onboard webcam, so I turned off the Skype one, and I think that's why. So you won't see me, but you can see me on the actual stream. So.
Oh, okay. So the YouTube screen?
Yeah, the YouTube screen's fine, but yeah, it was the Skype screen that was frozen.
Okay, let me, because that thing's gonna keep coming back. All right, let me move that really quick. All right.
So
yeah, she really worked for me. Mickey, for some, I've told you about this. I don't know how many times.
Yes, you have.
I can't do it. He's just, it's too easy to peg him. And I like Timothy Olyphant. He's a great actor too. And this franchise has something that a lot of other horror franchises don't have. Great actors in every single movie. And his character just doesn't work for me. He's not in the movie enough. I figure out that he's the killer so quickly every time. I'm like,
you know what? I don't mind if I figure out if the guy's a killer as long as he's interesting. And I liked, like, right away he's talking about, you know, Terminator 2 and Godfather Part 2 and everything. So right away he like grabs my interest, because anybody that's talking about movies, that's why I like Charlie so much in 4, because he's the movie guy. He's like us. That's what Mickey was. And then at the end, Mickey's doing it just because he's crazy and he wants the fame out of it. Let me ask the chat here real quick. I
may be a little biased against Charlie, just saying.
We're gonna get to Charlie. Hold on. Let me ask my chat here. Who do you prefer? Do you prefer Mrs. Loomis or do you prefer Mickey? Just write one of those names so that way I can see who you guys prefer. Because I'm curious. Because it could go either way, really. Because they're both so different. Like, do you prefer Mrs. Loomis over Mickey, Zach?
Absolutely. Okay. And if you do write Mickey in the chat, I know that you mean Mrs. Loomis.
I don't know.
Because Mrs. Loomis is the superior.
I'm going to bet that they choose Mickey. I'm going to bet that they choose Mickey.
I saw one Mickey.
Come on, Aaron Click, he's on board. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh.
Oh, we got
another Oh, yes, here we go.
No. 4.
Oh, dude, Zach, you're dead in the water, brother. You're dead in the water.
Mrs. Loomis right now. There's one.
Yes. I love you guys. It's fine if you like Mrs. Loomis, though. You're wrong, but it's fine.
Just be honest with me. Everybody means Mrs. Loomis.
Yes, she did. Yeah, Erica. Mrs. Loomis drove me nuts. I think that's what it was. Like, you have a person that's freaking out for no reason whatsoever. Like, I mean, there's a reason in her mind, but I mean, narratively on the screen, I just met you and you're screaming at me. And you know, you could say they were trying the Pamela Voorhees thing, because we don't even see Pamela Voorhees to the end of the movie. But Betsy Palmer freaking knocked that out of the park, because she kind of eases into it. You know, she comes into it like this like if Mrs. Loomis came in like she's trying to help Sydney, and she's like, you know, and then all of a sudden she just starts slowly turning evil. I mean, you got enough time to do it. The hell, the scene drug on for like freaking 20 minutes. So
yeah, I don't know.
I think that's my problem.
There's a lot of script problems with Scream 2, and it's because it was rushed so much.
These days, it's all about the trial.
The script was leaked.
Love it.
There were many script leaks, and they were intentional, like the other sequels.
Yeah.
And this one, you know, they changed things. There was originally supposed to be different killers. They changed everything around.
Yeah.
Mickey got lost in the shuffle. Just saying. And I don't know. I don't know where I was going there, but Mrs. Loomis is the best killer in the movie.
We got so much to talk about, guys. We have Scream funnies for you tonight too. Just so you know, I pulled out some Scream.
This wasn't funny
funnies.
Enough.
Yeah, this was the first funny. Zach preferring Mrs. Loomis. Okay.
No, everybody in the chat thinking Mickey is a superior killer. You're all wrong.
Bullshit. All right. Here we go. Scream 3. This blew my mind, because I threw this in. My eyes were already rolling by the time the disc actually started going into the player. That's how I usually think of Scream 3. It's even like on the thumbnail of my worst slashers in history.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. That's how much I start watching it, and you got the scene with Cotton Weary, and he gets the call his girlfriend is being attacked, and I'm like, I've always liked that scene. It's actually a good start to the movie.
Underrated opening scene.
Very underrated opening scene, actually. And I like the 100% cotton thing. You know, that's catchy. And then I like the stuff that Roger L. Jackson's saying to him too about his. What does he say to him about his girlfriend? I can't remember, but it was just something. You know, it was like she looks nice or something like. You know, it was kind of creepy.
Corner. Something like that. Yeah. I can't remember.
But yeah, great opening scene. Now, if I think back to what I hated about Scream 3, I always hated the movie set thing. I guess when they're on the movie set at the beginning, I thought Jenny McCarthy is completely wasted in the movie. And you got Jenny freaking McCarthy. Read between the lines. You can probably think about what I'm trying to say here. You got Jenny McCarthy, former Playboy Playmate, by the way. And she even like literally says it out loud in the movie what she's supposed to be, and they don't do it. So I was like, are you kidding me?
I would have liked. Here's one thing that I would have liked from Scream 3. I mean, that's all admit it. The second part of the movie, the second act, is easily the weakest part of the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Show some parts where they're filming Stab.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Show parts where they're filming that. Give those actors something to do other than being idiots. And then give Roman a little bit more screen time. Give Lance Henriksen a little bit more screen time. They become very important at the end of the movie. Limit some of that that time with those characters at the house. That, you know, the ending of that scene is great. But
I love that scene, even though it's so freaking stupid when they're all at the house and the one guy that's supposed to be he's supposed to be Dewey in the Stab movie.
Right.
And he runs back into the house because he wants to read it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the dumbest thing you could ever do.
Okay, here's something that would have been really good. I just thought about this while you were talking about that. Okay. So what I just said, the second part of Scream 3, it gets really boring, right? Because we don't care about those characters. And I said, let's show a little bit of the filming of Stab 3.
Yep.
Okay. And then, you know, where Jenny McCarthy's death scene is, no one else is around. Okay?
No.
How about in this scene, they're filming a death scene for her, right? In Scream 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like body double.
Use the actual ghost face, stabs her for real. Mm-hmm. Everyone loses their minds, and he's gone before you even know who the killer was.
Holy shit, Zach. You just blew my mind, dude. That would have been freaking awesome.
Boom.
Yeah. That would have been amazing. And I know it already sounds like I'm shitting on Scream 3, and I'm trying to tell you that I prefer it. But I did, you know what? If you pull yourself back from the stupid script,
right,
and just superficially, there's a lot going on in Scream 3. Scream 2, they're stretching a lot out, and what they're stretching out is kind of stupid. But Scream 3, man, I mean, they are going for broke in terms of the story. You got McDreamy coming in there, Kincaid. And he's a wild card because I thought this guy could be the killer. Kincaid could definitely be the killer. I liked this character actually, but that's just like 1/10 of the recipe in Scream 3. I almost think like they got a little bit too ambitious with the plot because I was like on board the whole time, even as stupid as it was sometimes. But I thought it was a little bit more ambitious and they were trying harder.
Well, so. I don't know. I feel like Scream 2, as I said, was trying too much to be the first movie.
Yeah.
This movie knew what it was and went for it. Like, it wasn't trying to be the first movie. They were going out and doing their own thing.
Oh, definitely. You know what I mean? Scream 3 feels very different than the first movie.
And that's why Scream 3 is above Scream 2 in my ranking.
Even though they recreate the setting of the final act of the first movie, which I thought was genius, by the way. I mean, when you see Gail Weathers walk onto that set and she's like, holy shit, this is what the first movie was, you know?
And those sets, I find it hard to believe that they're not the sets from the original movie.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, I know from listening to the director's commentary of the first Scream, they had to rebuild Sid's bedroom because the house that they shot her home scenes in,
Yeah.
the doors wouldn't do that, so they had to recreate that room on a set, so those doors would do that thing where it opens and the doors lock up.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had to rebuild the set, so I wouldn't be surprised if that bedroom isn't the same one from the first one.
It probably could. I mean, that's pretty common to actually build, especially for shooting interiors.
Right.
It's much more practical to actually build the sets, because that way you can slide the walls around, you can move the camera back.
Right.
It's just more practical. So
Absolutely.
But I mean, overall, I think I was like, damn, I'm having a good time with this freaking movie, even though I'm kind of making fun of it.
It's fun.
It's fun. Scream 3 is actually fun. There's all, the comedy lands, and if you give me that, that's something. It's not scary at all, but I mean, the comedy really lands.
Okay. There it is. It's funny, and it doesn't try hard to be funny. AKA Derek in the second movie. That scene where he sings to Sid.
I hate that. That's probably my least favorite scene out of the whole franchise.
There's like 3 scenes in Scream 2 that I just can't take seriously at all, and that's one of them.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like, that this woman is being hunted by a psychopath, and you want the attention of the entire school when she's got 2 armed police officers following her around.
And the last thing she wants is attention on her. And that's another thing I loved about Scream 3. Sydney went into hiding.
Wants to be a doctor.
Yeah. It's just... you know what? I think, too, just like... Usually I like college setting movies. I like sorority type movies. For some reason, it just didn't work for me with Scream 2. I don't know why. I just was kind of annoyed by a lot of the college characters. And also, I think they tried to stuff in too many young starlets. Like, everybody's just getting a cameo in there.
2 of them are in a movie that's released the next year.
Oh, yeah.
Joshua Jackson and, what's her name?
Well, you got Rebecca Gayheart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
both
Portia de Rossi just pops up out of... I mean, just so many freaking... I'm like, why are you in my screen? You're not, like, doing anything. So,
right.
You just in that one scene, and that's it. So you can't be the killer, because that'd be stupid for you to just pop up at the end and be the killer, and we don't even know who you are.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well...
Do you want to go to Scream?
Love Scream 3.
Say that again?
I said, long story short, Lee loves Scream 3.
I wouldn't say love, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Capital L.
Yeah. My ranking has changed. I'll say that, okay? 2's now my least favorite Scream movie.
Do you hear that?
Yep.
2 is now its least favorite Scream movie.
2 is definitely my least favorite.
It took me 5 years. It took me 5 years to convince him that Scream 3 is better than Scream 2.
It finally happened. Holly gets it. Jenny McCarthy. There you go. That's all you need right there. I used to have a big old crush on Jenny McCarthy, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I think I may have a magazine in the basement with her in.
Yeah, could be. You know what? Before we jump to Scream 4 and the first Scream, I want to read some of because I posted this thing on Killer Flicks. I basically asked some questions to my audience, and I want to highlight them. I want to. Yeah.
Oh, just 1 second before you jump into that.
Okay. You talk, and I'll pull up my questions. Go ahead.
Amstel said that Carrie Fisher was the best part of Scream 3. Okay, now listen. I've told you this before, and I'm going to blow everybody's minds right now in the chat.
Go for it.
I've thought about this I don't know how many times. Okay, Carrie Fisher being in this movie makes absolutely no sense. Okay? This is a Wes Craven film, right?
Yeah.
So, what's the other franchise that Wes Craven is known for? A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Okay? Who hadn't done anything since 1995? Heather Langenkamp.
Right.
Put her in that scene.
I think so too, because
Heather Langenkamp.
You're crossing genres there. Yeah, we all love Princess Leia, but what is she doing in a slasher movie? It's kind of strange.
That's like Jay and Silent Bob showing up as Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, how awesome would that have been? You know what I mean? And there's actually another A Nightmare on Elm Street wink in Scream 2. Sid's theater teacher,
right?
David. He was the original Freddy Krueger. he had to drop out of the role, and it
Yeah,
went
yeah,
to
because
Robert.
didn't they want somebody to be like more of like a Michael Myers type of character for Freddy Krueger?
They wanted an older actor. They wanted him to have an older look, and then they realized, well, he's burned, so it's not going to matter. So they chose Robert Englund.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there before.
That's a good point, though. I'm trying to. I see. I got this. Yeah, here it is. So I got the questions here. Let me see if it'll come up on my screen here. Fine and dandy. Hold on. So if I go to news, yeah, you can see it there. Okay, so I'll read that to you real quick.
Okay.
Okay, it says, how would you feel about having an all Scream episode of new DDLive? We're doing that right now. And you're included.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, you can use the TV show as well. We haven't even talked about the TV show yet. All right, so...
Oh, I have opinions.
Your favorite scene in the franchise, your favorite underrated moment, a moment, scene, or character no one talks about, your favorite kill, does Scream have creative kills, and your 3 favorite characters from the franchise. So I handpicked a few of them. So I'm going to pull those up right now. Let me see. Hold on. I think it's down here. Yeah, I got them all right here. So what I'm going to do is I need to close. I got too many freaking... This OBS, man. This OBS program.
It's weird because my webcam is not on my computer. So when I look at the screen to see things, I look away from the webcam.
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm not paying attention. I am. I can't see anything on the other monitor.
Okay, I got some patrons in here too. This is Beth. We all know her and love Beth. She's in there. She says,
"What up, Beth?"
I told Beth I wanted to put her on here because she kind of represents the casual Scream fan. There are people that don't like Scream. There are people that think it's just there and I can watch it, but I don't get blown away by it. Like say something like Friday the 13th, you know. So she says I'm not super knowledgeable on the franchise as a whole. So I will say favorite scene would be Casey at the beginning of the first one. It is just so memorable and was such a shocker when I saw the movie for the first time. It has always resonated. I agree with that. Even you can say that you don't like Scream, but that first scene, that opening scene in the first movie, one of the greatest opening scenes in horror history. Would you agree with that, Zach?
Ever. Absolutely.
It's fucking
one of the
amazing.
Most shocking scenes ever. If you sat there and told me that you knew she would die at the beginning of this movie, I'd tell you that you're lying.
Yeah, it's Drew Barrymore.
Because Drew Barrymore was on top of the world when that movie came out. Nev Campbell, nobody knew who Nev Campbell was unless they saw The Craft, unless they watched Party of Five.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who she was. Drew Barrymore was America's sweetheart. Everybody knew who she was. So when she died, that is insane. Spoilers for a movie that's almost 30 years old that everyone's seen. But nobody knew that was going to happen.
I think didn't Nev Campbell? She did Party of Five. We used to watch Party of Five actually when it first came out. I think it was out maybe a year or two before Scream. But she definitely wasn't a household name.
And she was also on that show with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Party of Five.
Small factoid there.
Well, I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt was in Party of Five.
My bad.
Yeah, I think you're getting it mixed up. Come on, Zach, get with the program. Damn it. You don't know your 90s CW style sitcoms? I guess that's not a sitcom, though.
What was Nev Campbell on?
Nev Campbell was one of the family of the Party of Five. She was one of the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that Jennifer Love Hewitt was on there.
Yeah, she dated Brady.
Yeah, they're both. That's what I said. They're both on that show.
If you want to turn this into the Party of Five stream, we can do that.
And then another factoid, Kevin Williamson would go on to put out I Know What You Did Last Summer with her. So
yeah.
They're both in movies written by him.
Yeah.
Which is pretty sweet.
Do you prefer I Know What You Did Last Summer over any of the Scream movies?
If I would prefer, okay. I prefer. This is hard because I think Scream 2 is a better made movie than I Know What You Did Last Summer. But
Yeah.
Scream 2 is a better made movie than
Is it,
Scream
though?
3, but it's not as enjoyable. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to give you my Chris Hemsworth. Is it, though?
I have more fun. All right. See, it's a
I
better
think I Know What You
movie.
Did Last Summer has 10 times the atmosphere of Scream 2. Like, I love the atmosphere in I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I might prefer I Know over the first. Nah, probably not. Probably not. I won't
Not
say
the
that.
first movie.
The first
It
movie
has a
is
better atmosphere than the first movie, but the characters aren't near as good. It's not as well directed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's more atmospheric. I do love the hook killer, but
Right.
yeah, I think the
here's
characters is where
here's
it
a better
falls short.
comparison. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Right.
Or
Go
Scream
on.
2.
Better than Scream 2?
Better than Scream 2.
I agree with that now. I used to hate I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and then I watched it a few months ago, and I kind of enjoyed it. There was a tanning bed scene in there. That got me there.
Right. Although the tanning bed scene in Final Destination 3
Yeah.
was better.
One thing I love about I Still is how I like a movie where it's just like raining. To me, that's just like cheap production value, you know. And you give me that much rain in a slasher movie, that just makes it more, because then the killer could pop out of nowhere, you know. It just adds another level of danger. That's what I like about all that. And so I think the rain was really cool in the second movie.
That's what makes me like that one more sometimes, because of the atmosphere of that one with the tropical setting and no one around, and it's a lot creepier than the first movie, to be honest.
Andy E, he just hit it. Andy E, stand up, take a bow. By the way, H2O is the worst Scream movie.
Absolutely right.
Oh man, Andy E, you're awesome.
Tried so hard to be a Scream movie.
It really wants. I mean, they even use the same music. Vit, 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 vit. I just like, Jesus.
It's the same. Like when the nurse is going through Dr. Loomis's house at the very beginning of that.
Yeah.
And that is the opening music of the first Scream.
Oh, it is.
It is the exact music. Like, it's not parts. It's the exact opening of Scream. It's crazy.
It's so funny. Okay, we'll go to the next one. All right, I've had Beth's Pretty Mug up here the whole time. Okay, let me go patron. Yeah, we'll go here. Here's another one right here. Norton.
Oh wait, let me throw this question to the chat really quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Which movie's better? Scream 4. Okay, Scream 4 or the original I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good question. I'd like to participate.
There we go. Hit me up with your answers.
Scream 4 or I Know What You Did Last Summer, right?
Yes.
Or Valentine. No, I'm just kidding.
Or Valentine. Valentine or Urban Legend?
I like Valentine. You know?
I
Warts
like
and
Urban
all.
Legend.
I'm going Scream 4 over that one. Yeah, definitely Scream 4.
Scream 4, yeah.
I'm a big Scream 4 fan though, and I can back it up. I've seen Scream 4 probably more than any other Scream movie. I watch it constantly, have a blast with it every single time.
Oh yeah, check out the chat right now.
Yeah, Scream 4, baby. Bring it home, guys. Bring it home.
Original.
Yeah.
Original Last Summer. Let's go. That's a really good one right there.
Beth says I have a soft spot for I Know. I know it's a good. You know, it's a good matchup. It's a good match. It's not like a good movie versus a bad movie. They're both great. So, yeah, but I give the edge to Scream 4. But I mean, if I throw in I Know, I'm still having a blast with it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both very fun. And then we could get into
I Know What You Screamed 4 minutes ago. That's what it should have been called.
I Know What You Did during the last Scream sequel.
Yeah.
All right. I could. I'm not going to do it. Cherry Falls or Venom. No, they're both terrible.
Stop it, Zach. Stop it.
Venom is awful. Never watched Venom. 2005. It was the last true teen.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking? Because I'm drinking Monster, and I'm not that crazy right now.
Water, son. Water.
All right. Norton says, whatever the group wants, I'm happy with. I have seen 1 through 4, but only one time, and that was 7 to 8 years ago, so my memory really was the brightest for me. The original is an instant classic. Okay. 2 has some fairly good moments from what I can remember, and 3 and 4 were so unstimulating. I don't know, Norton.
Oh no.
I don't know.
Oh no.
But my favorite scene in Kill would have to be the iconic opening scene, and yeah, I felt the kills were too repetitive. I do agree that the kills are repetitive, but I think it suits the killer. You know, I don't think Scream is about creative kills.
It's not.
It's not.
It's more about the characters. Like, you got to care about the characters.
Yeah.
If you go into this movie and you find someone annoying or you don't like the characters, you're gonna hate it because the kills aren't creative. They're realistic.
Yeah.
This is technically what a person on paper, quote unquote, would do if they were a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of stabbings, a lot of gunshots, and if you don't like the characters, then Scream's not the movie for you.
Look who that is. That's Holly Klein. Let's read Holly's. Favorite scene has always been the final act in the first Scream between Billy and Stu. Yeah, man, I'm surprised somebody hasn't said that yet. That's a great freaking scene.
And it's so long too.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little woozy here. Stu, man, he's so great. And face it, Sid, your mom was no Sharon Stone. Love that.
Right.
Holly's bang on so far. I just used a Dave McRae line. Okay. Favorite underrated character would have to be Charlie in Scream 4. Man, it's like we're using the same brain. It's crazy. I liked him as a killer, but he got overshadowed by Jill. I preferred Jill, but Charlie was good. I think 4 had 2 solid killers at the end that I liked both of them, actually. Would love to have seen him live longer in the final... We're going to talk about this after. Let me finish reading.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Would love to have seen him live longer in the final act. I also loved Cotton Weary in Scream 2. I think Scream 2 had the best Cotton Weary. I will agree with that for sure. Favorite kill is Maureen Evans, Jada Pinkett Smith in Scream 2. Interesting. That's an interesting answer, Holly.
It's a really good kill, though.
It is a good kill. It's an emotional kill.
Scene.
And just think about this, too. Like, imagine, as you're dying, you have an audience not only watching you die, but they're cheering. Can you imagine that, dude? Like,
and how meta is that?
That's crazy, man.
How many times have you screamed in, like, euphoria when someone you hated died in a horror movie?
Yeah.
And they're showing you that in the screen.
They're showing you that. Yeah, those are good answers. I liked all those answers. Hell yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, did you want to say something about her? You were going to say something about Charlie, right?
No, I was going to say something about Emma Roberts being
Jill? So you don't like Jill?
I like the character of Jill.
Okay.
I don't like Emma Roberts in the role.
Stop it.
Honestly, I think that
I loved Emma Roberts in the role.
The girl from Pretty Little Liars that dies in the beginning would have been better.
I don't remember. Is it the blonde-haired girl?
Lucy Hale.
Yeah, Lucy Hale. No.
Lucy Hale.
That is the wrong answer, Zach. The right answer would be they chose the right actress in Emma Roberts. But I don't really like Lucy Hale that much. She looks like that. Doesn't Lucy Hale look like the actress that's in Coyote Ugly? I always get those two, like she's like a generation before Lucy Hale, but they look so similar. But yeah.
Yeah, Lucy Hale. All right. There's a lot of girls that look exactly the same out there right now.
That's very true.
It's kind of hard, but I've watched Pretty Little Liars and I've seen things that she's in, so I'm familiar with her. But
have you seen how many people look like Katy Perry?
Like, tons. Zoe Deschanel.
No, there's like six. They pulled up six of them, and they all look exactly alike. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's like raining outside, like big time right now. I can hear it. It's crazy. All right, let me go to the next.
Never been behind the Emma Roberts choice. She's a good actress, just not for that role.
Yeah. Why did that do that? I thought I set these up. Okay, here we go. Okay, Ebert Thon. He says, favorite scene in the franchise, Randy going crazy talking to Stu in the video store. That's a great scene. Love that.
That's probably my favorite scene in the original movie.
I love when he's talking to Stu and then Billy comes behind him and like just kind of hangs on his shoulders.
Yeah, right. He's just reveling in what Billy's doing to him.
Yep. Brandon Barry says, best kill for me, Steve in the original. Do you remember Steve?
Yeah. Steve Orff, the boyfriend of Casey.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
This is another really cool one coming from a Scream hardcore fan. Is he was on the short list of actors that was originally there for Billy.
Really?
And he did not get the role.
Yep.
Before they decided to go with Skeet Ulrich, it was going to be him.
Bess says, who wanted to work in a video store?
I
don't know if I ever wanted to work one. Did you say you worked in one? Two?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I worked at Blockbuster and FYE.
Wow. How'd you like?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
It was fun. Blockbuster was more fun than FYE though. Like, yeah, I had my own employee pick shelf where I would like put my. I remember exactly what was on my employee pick shelf too. I had American Psycho.
Yep.
Dawn of the Dead, the remake, Scream, and 300.
I always thought that was so cool that they would have like the employee favorites. Yeah, that was. I don't know. It's just kind of because it give you an option of like, oh, I never heard of this movie before, and it's got to be at least decent because this is this person's favorite movie. You know, like Brotherhood of the Wolf. I think that's how I like discovered Brotherhood of the Wolf. It was like one of the employees' favorite movies. They put it on the rack, and I was like, oh, I got to check this out, and I ended up loving it.
I was actually a floor salesman at Blockbuster, so if you came in and you didn't know what you wanted, I would come up and be like, hey, you know, what are you looking for? You're looking to watch an action movie? And like, if they would rent what I suggested, I would get part of the commission from it.
Oh, nice.
So that was pretty cool.
Did you guys have like an adult section? Because some video stores actually had like an adult section. Like there was this like creepy basement in the back, even though a basement would be below the building. But just go with me on this. But there was like some seedy room in the back that you could go into, and there'd be like an adult section. Not saying I ever went in there, but you know.
Not the one that I worked at, but there were ones that did.
Yeah.
But ours had a really cool horror section because it was in the back of the building, like away from everything else in this creepy corner.
Yep.
It was really cool.
Hey, Todd Fair, you just wasted $5. $5 you just wasted, buddy. There you go.
Ooh, terrible.
That's nothing. Let's move on. It's funny. Okay. All right, let's see. His next one is favorite underrated moment. Wes Craven came as Fred the janitor. Oh yeah, that was a nice little cameo. He even had like the Freddy sweater on. Wes Craven
cameo. You said Wes Craven came as Freddy.
Very poor choice of words.
But yes, that is pretty awesome. And when I was a kid, I didn't know that until after I, grew up a little bit and knew who he was.
Yeah.
So that kind of flew over my head when I was a kid. But like later in life, that's really cool to have him in the movie. And if you've noticed, he's not wearing like the later sequels Freddy sweater either. Like he's wearing the one with the all red arms from the original movie.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, because that's his baby, the original movie.
Yeah.
Were there any other cameos in? Well, I mean, obviously you had freaking Princess Leia, but I'm trying to think.
The original Scream had Linda Blair.
Yeah, that's right. Jay and Silent Bob.
Or, David Warner in Part 2. And technically, I guess Henry Winkler returns in Part 4 because there's a scene where you can see like his bust in the hallway of the school.
Yeah.
So technically, he's in it.
No kidding. Okay.
But yeah. And then you have Adam Brody is in Part 4, and
well, I mean, he has a substantial part though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's.
I mean, he's one of the cops.
Maybe Lucy Hale, because she's like a bigger actress now, and
she was in the beginning of Scream 4.
Yeah. Anna Paquin.
Yeah.
There's
I forget. Yeah, Anna Paquin's in it too. Yeah, there's so many at the beginning. I almost think like at the beginning of Scream 4, they had too many intros there. Like you could have done a couple and then moved on.
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen the alternate opening. It's a lot better.
Oh, really?
Honestly.
Now, Chris Snyder's saying Matthew Lillard was in Scream 2?
He was.
Where?
I can tell you. All right, so one of the original scripts for Scream 2, he was going to be the killer.
Yeah.
And they brought him in, but scripts leaked and stuff like that. He is in the party scene. You can see him in the background right after they have that little conversation, and it pans out and you see the whole party.
Right.
He's in the background. He's got blonde hair and he's wearing glasses.
Damn. You just blew my mind.
Yep, he's in
Chris
Scream
just blew
2.
my mind. I didn't even know that. I'll have to look for that. Todd's got a question now. A legit question. Do you guys think they need to kill off Sydney at the end of Scream 5? That's a good question, too, actually. Oh, man. I'll let you answer first. Let me think about it.
Okay. So, I thought that they were going to kill her off. Now, we did get a picture earlier. I don't know if you were planning on talking about that or not. That they show Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and Kevin Williamson together.
Right.
In a picture. It's from his Twitter. You notice who's missing from the picture is David Arquette.
Right. Okay. Oh, jeez. Yeah.
So
I mean, that could mean anything, though. But
I'm not trying to put two and two together, but I'm thinking maybe Neve Campbell lives through this movie.
Yeah, and that's my answer. I think Nev's going to live, and I kind of want her to live. But it's not like Laurie Strode. Like I'm always saying, please kill this woman. Just because Laurie Strode has played in 3, maybe 4 different like timelines. I think 3 different timelines with the character.
Right.
Sidney Prescott has stayed the course the whole time, and she's earned her keep. So I don't want her to die. I do think, though, that they need to up the stakes a little bit because they kind of bit themselves in the foot. Can you bite yourself in the foot? In Scream 3?
Technically.
Yeah. In Scream 3, when he says all bets are off and anybody could die, and no. The core 3 were still there at the end of the movie, you know? Don't give us something like that and say, ooh, this could happen, and then it just doesn't happen. You got to at least kill one of them.
See, I think the problem is because everybody got so attached to these characters. I think that not Neve Campbell, but I think that either David Arquette or Courtney Cox should have died in Scream 2.
Yeah.
Because they kill Randy, right? And I always hate that part. They kill Randy. What would have been the bigger gut punch? Randy dies, right? Then nobody else dies in the movie other than a couple nameless characters. Well, they have names, but they're useless to the story. And then all of a sudden, somebody else dies too. Like Scream 2 says, okay, we killed one of your favorite characters. Boom, we're not dead yet. There's another one gone too. Sheriff Riley, he's gone.
Yeah. Raise the stakes because they kill Randy like in the middle of the movie like he's nobody.
Right.
And Randy is easily one of the most beloved characters. But maybe by Scream 2 they didn't know that yet, you know? And when they were writing the script for Scream 2, because I would say I liked him even more in Scream 2 than I did Scream 1, even though he had a lesser part. I love that scene with him and Dewey.
I liked all of his scenes in Scream 2.
Yeah, he's great.
Like,
yeah, fuck you. Yeah, that's great.
And
man.
he's just like on point the entire time. Like he's probably better in the second movie than he is in the first one. And he's not in it enough.
Randy looks completely different in every movie too. You notice that? Like he looks like a much better looking guy in the second movie than he does in the first movie. And then in the third movie he looks like he's 10 years older.
Right.
It's very strange.
And he looks exactly like he did in the second one.
Yeah.
Because technically the tape that he made was made during the second movie.
Was it? He definitely looked different though. Maybe it was the angle or something.
Well, because it was filmed in 1999.
Yeah.
And came out in 2000.
Maybe.
Was it 2000?
Because I think they filmed that during because he definitely looks heavier in that maybe somebody in the chat can help us out, but I think he looks.
They didn't film that in Scream 2. They didn't film that.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were saying.
They didn't film that in 97. They filmed that in 98 when they were making the movie. I'm pretty sure it was 98. It might have been 99.
All right, let me do a couple. Let me do a couple more of these. I'm going to read them real quick, and I'm going to do a couple Killer Flicks ones. We're going to burn through these, and then we'll go do some funnies real quick. I got a couple of Scream funnies for you, like a dozen. We'll burn through them, okay?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. Destiny said that Martha, the actress that played Martha, there was a leak of her with the cast of the new movie,
right?
A while back that possibly saying that Martha Meeks is going to be in Scream 5, Randy's sister.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
So And she's in a picture with the cast, so why would she be there?
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to throw people off.
And she's kind of a... speaking of Destiny, there you go. So, opening of the first movie, Sid and Roman's confrontation in 3. There's something to talk about right there. Now, I saw Scream... I think I've seen every Scream movie in the theater. When I saw 3 in the theater, I remember I walked out like that was a good time. And that final act, I mean, they definitely went for it. And I don't mind, like, I much prefer Roman over Mrs. Loomis. Like, Roman, I mean, he definitely came to play. You know?
I like the third act of Scream 3. And I think he is a strong Ghostface. I think he's a stronger Ghostface than Mickey. Is he better than Mrs. Loomis? I don't think so. But...
You know, the one distinction that Roman has, though? He's the one guy that it was one killer for that movie. You know, that's the one thing that he can always say, that I was in the movie where there was one killer. You know, because that's something I always wanted to. I was like, I'm sick of having 2 killers. We've done it for 2 movies. Let's mix it up a little bit and just maybe have it just one killer. And they did that. And I liked that about Roman. And if you're going to have one killer, you got to make it count. And I don't think Roman's nearly as good as like Billy and Stu, but he's still, he still holds his own.
The best thing that I would have liked, and this is what a Scream 3 was originally going to be, is that all the deaths in the movie that were in the movie were going to be movie magic.
Yeah.
That they were all going to be the killer. Everybody that died.
Oh, wow.
And he would have been the ringleader.
That's interesting.
So, yeah, have you seen The Following with Kevin Bacon?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So basically the idea for that was the serial killer went to jail, and then from jail he's like directing his underlings to go out and perform murders. And this was written by Kevin Williamson. That was the original idea for
Wow, that's interesting.
And it would have been Stu being the ringleader.
Wow, that is really interesting. God, I want freaking Stu
really
back
dark.
So bad. That's my number one want. I mean, because there's no way you could ever bring Billy back. Wouldn't that be crazy?
I don't get anything that's going on with that. Like, I've heard a lot of rumors that Billy Loomis is going to be back. Actually, when we get into Scream 5, like, I'm excited to start talking about that because I have a couple theories.
Well, Billy was shot point blank right in the head
with a cop's gun.
Yeah, double tap.
There's no blanks in that gun.
Yeah. So yeah. So she says Casey in the original or Olivia's in 4. I'm thinking she's talking about the deaths. Olivia in 4. Who was that? Was that like the lawyer or something?
No, Olivia was the long-haired friend that dies in the house next to.
Oh, the really bloody kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's the one thing that really caught me about Scream 4. When I remember when I saw it in the theater, I was just like, damn, like this is. They're upping it a notch in the blood department, because that's a gritty freaking scene. Actually, that's part of the reason I like Scream 4 so much. Is it's the bloodier Scream movie. You know, they really go for it in terms of the kills.
That's why I'm really excited to have the Ready or Not guys, the Radio Silence guys in this, because I feel like Scream 5 is going to be the darkest and most brutal of any of them. It's going to be like,
I think so too. I think so too.
How violent Scream 4 was, and I think that this movie is going to be more violent than that. And that's pretty intense.
I definitely agree with that. We're going to do one more Killer Flicks one here. Chris Snyder, he says, how would I feel about all Scream episode? Yes, please. The opening of Scream, everybody agrees the opening of Scream is just freaking iconic. Sydney versus Roman. As much as I hate that they killed him, Randy. Yep, everybody hates that they killed Randy. And Sydney, Stu, Kirby. Nobody's talked about Kirby yet. Thank you, Chris, for mentioning that, because Kirby is probably one of the kills that really hurt. Like, oh, God.
Kirby is everything.
Everything. Like, do you think Kirby, because you're the Scream guy, is Kirby coming back? Exclusive, no. Zack from Cavern of Terror. Is Kirby coming back? Come on, let us know.
No. She's not. And if she is, they kept it very secret.
Yeah, they did a damn good job if she is. I mean, she did even like, didn't she like do a tweet and she had the
She
hairdo.
cut her hair. She cut her hair, and she said it feels good, Kirby vibes.
Do you think she was trying to get a job when she did that?
She might have been.
Yeah.
I think a lot of those original Scream actors were trying to get jobs.
Yeah.
For Scream 5. I mean, Matthew Lillard was trying to get back into the franchise.
I mean, I've seen so many tweets of like, yeah, I mean, I'm totally, like, I think even David Arquette was like, I'm totally for bringing Kirby back. Like,
everybody wanted her to come back.
Well, that's the thing about the Scream family. They're literally that. They're like a family with each other. Once you're in a Scream movie, it's like they're a family. They're like the tightest group of actors of any slasher franchise. Usually, you do a slasher movie, you walk away from it, and you usually talk bad about it, but not with Scream.
Right.
It's a moment of pride. Nobody ever said, like people don't do the Rooney Mara treatment on Scream. Like Rooney Mara is completely shit all over the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
If you don't want to do horror, don't do horror.
Yeah, nobody asked you to fucking be in this movie. Your
sister would have done a better job.
She definitely would have. And a lot of people don't like Nightmare, but this is before everybody hated Nightmare. Right away she just shit on it. She just got like a job in one of the most popular franchises in history, and you're gonna shit on it? I've always had a problem with that.
And honestly, I honestly do think her sister would have done a better job.
Oh yeah, her sister just had, I don't know, they're completely different actresses, Right. There's just and Rooney Mara is a good actress. The girl with the dragon tattoo, amazing work, amazing work.
But yes, she's a fantastic actress. Horror is not her thing.
Yeah, because she's just very wooden, and I don't know. You can tell when an actress is just not into it, and she just didn't seem into it at all. So, yeah.
I mean, horror's not for everybody.
Nope, it's not. It's definitely not.
And she was that we've had this conversation before. She was already in bigger projects before this movie had come out, so you didn't need to do this movie. I think she thought that it was just going to be a paycheck, and that it was going to be an easy film to do. Horror's not easy to film.
Yeah, a lot of people, they take for granted too those the performances that a lot of these especially actresses pull off in horror movies. It's not easy to act like you're scared and do it convincingly,
Right.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people that do fan films, a lot of these young actors and actresses, they realize that they're like, oh shit, this isn't easy. Like you really have to go for it,
Right.
There's a lot of nuance to it too. So yeah, I always try to give proper credit to actresses or actors that just pull off an amazing performance or a good performance in a horror movie, because people don't get, like, you don't see Oscars given for best acting to horror movies for the most part. Yes, there are outliers, but for the most part, because it's horror, they're looked past.
Right. It's a lesser genre.
It's
always been a lesser genre.
But funny enough, I would say the horror community is probably the tightest freaking community. And once you're a horror fan, you're a horror fan for life. More times than not.
You don't get out of it.
Yeah, you never get out of it. Like, I'll be a horror fan when I'm 90. I know it.
Every time I try to get out, they just pull me right back in.
They pull you right back in. I got some funnies here. Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Can you see these, Zack?
Yeah, I can see him on the screen.
Okay.
I see Dewey right now.
Yep. So Dewey, sometimes all you need to survive a horror movie is luck.
And a good doctor.
Because Dewey, I swear, the guy just 9 lives. To the point where it's like, please, will you? Because every movie he gets some battle damage, He might not get a death blow, even though he has gotten a death blow a couple times.
He got hit in the head with a bedpan in part 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean... I don't know. I mean, I kind of cheapened it a little bit for me, because I think Scream 4 was the most badass he ever was in a franchise.
Yeah.
And then you have him get beat in the head with a bedpan by
you're not getting up from that pretty quick.
110-pound Emma Roberts.
Yeah.
Like, nah, no way.
Nope.
That's unbelievable. Okay.
Yeah. Next one, I don't know if it pulled up on your end. That's why I'm trying to, like, I'll pull it up while you're talking so that way you can see it. But
yeah, the second one's not there yet.
Oh, it'll, like, any second now. Tell me when you see it.
I'll tell you when I see it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna take a drink. Taking a drink. Chat, take a drink.
I'm gonna join you there.
Here's to you.
They
Here's
got
to you,
people
chat.
saying in the chat that Katie Cassidy and Kellen Lutz should have been the final two.
Yes, I agree, and I think they like Katie Cassidy. They're setting her up to be, like Amanda Weiss, and Amanda Weiss was great, and Amanda Weiss is final girl material, and that was intentional. But Katie Cassidy's just way too good to not be at the end of that movie.
I actually think Kyle Gallner is good in the movie as Jesse.
I agree.
Jesse. Is his name Quinn? It's Quinn, right?
Yeah, Quinn.
All right, Quinn and Katie Cassidy, like those two should have been the main characters.
Completely agree.
Do something different.
Completely agree. I think Katie Cassidy would have been an amazing Nancy, I think.
No, don't even kill Nancy off.
Yeah.
Like, if you're doing a remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street and you're changing the characters, you're doing all this different stuff, and you're going to have her in the movie longer, kill off Nancy in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Create your own identity.
Might as well.
Move forward with Christina, which was her name in the movie.
I wonder if Heather Langenkamp would have been upset by that, if they actually killed off Nancy, if they had the balls to kill off Nancy at the beginning of the movie.
I don't think so.
Because, I mean, Nancy is a beloved character. Can you imagine, like in Rob Zombie's Halloween, they kill off Laurie Strode in the first act?
Rob Zombie's Halloween?
Yeah. That'd be kind of insane.
The first act is 57,000 minutes long, so,
yeah.
I mean, it's a long movie.
Crying shit.
It's almost 2.5 hours long.
I know. But it was the best opening of the entire franchise. You got to give it that, right?
Oh, yeah. 97 minutes later.
The opening scene, all you hear is a baby crying. That's what you want to hear in the opening of a Halloween movie.
Absolutely.
Will you shut that thing up? He didn't say that, but, I'm writing it as it goes. Okay. The killer is in the basement. Better go there. And you know what? I'm going to give him credit because Scream makes fun of that.
I mean, and she does run up the stairs.
And she ends up doing it.
Outside.
I thought that was genius, actually, that she made fun of the thing that she eventually does, because
she got stopped.
The lesson there is that fight or flight is a real thing, and a lot of times we make stupid decisions in fight or flight. And I've defended this in just horror movies in general. You know what? And this is a perfect opportunity. Strangers Pray at Night. The biggest complaint I heard about Strangers Pray at Night was stupid character decisions. Okay. Hold on just a second. Okay, our two main final people, the brother and sister, they're teenagers. Yep. Okay, when you're a teenager, your brain's not as developed as it should be. You're definitely not like, say, Aaron in freaking You're Next,
Right.
When you're a teenager, you're scared shitless. And you're in a situation like that. You have not one, but 3 killers coming after you. And you're telling me you're not going to make stupid decisions? I say bullshit. Anybody that gives the characters shit in Strangers Pray at Night, I say you're wrong. I say that if it could happen, then it's playable. It's on the table. And that's my thing with freaking horror. If it can happen, it's on the table. Right. It's playable.
Right. The only thing I think that would have made the movie a little bit more believable would be a tighter script. But,
yeah,
I mean, Bill Pullman's son has a chance to kill one of the killers and doesn't do it. And, you can chalk that up to him being like, oh, shit, I got to kill somebody. I don't think I can do it.
That's what I was going to say. I mean,
you're in the heat of the moment there.
Yeah.
I mean,
for some people, I think, if you have the chance to kill somebody and you don't, I can buy that. Like, actually killing somebody, that's that's tough. Plus you got all these thoughts going in your head. Like, if I kill this person, like, what's going to be the aftermath of that? I don't know.
Honestly, I think they make up with that, him not killing her with the sister with the shotgun later. I mean, that's awesome.
I will say too, the Strangers Pray at Night, one of the best final acts for a modern slasher I've seen in probably the last decade. Like the Air Supply song playing, which I thought was genius, by the way.
Yeah.
The young, I'm trying to think of her name. The young girl that was the final. Chat, help me out. What was the final girl's name?
What is her name? I have the movie somewhere. Yeah.
She was. I loved her. I thought she was so good.
I remember seeing her in Don't Be Afraid of the Dark in theaters She was still really little. And that was back in like 2013.
You know, when and I hate to toot my own horn, but when I reviewed the movie, the next I remember I woke up in the middle of the night, because I remember that night I went to see the movie, and then I got home, I reviewed it. It was one of those where I rarely do this too. I reviewed the movie on the day of. I wanted to get it out for some reason. I woke up, Bailey Madison, thank you very much. I woke up and Bailey Madison on Twitter.
And I thought that said Billy Madison.
Yeah, on Twitter, I guess she saw my review, and on Twitter she left, I mean, like the nicest freaking tweet. Not just thank you, but I mean this freaking paragraph saying, Drumdums, thank you so much for you know, shouting out our movie. We're so glad you loved it. And I was just like, oh my God, that's crazy. And I think that was the first time that had really happened to me since I had started reviewing movies. And I was just like, I was floored. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. You know, that the final girl of the movie saw my review and shouted me out like that. That was
right.
It was strange, but it was cool. But I admit that I loved her in the movie. She was so good. So.
Yeah, I really liked her character a lot. I actually really liked the characters of the movie. Loved the parents, loved the brother-sister relationship. All that was really good.
Yeah. I got the next funny up here. It's one of those 2020 funnies. My Plans 2020. And
there we go.
Do you see it yet?
No, but I think I saw it before when you showed it to me. I know this one's good.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. I like those. You know, that's the one thing about 2020. It gave us the greatest memes of all time. Yes, the pool scene's great too. I love
the pool scene is fantastic.
Yeah,
really good.
That movie. I mean, I remember Jeremy Johns gave that movie dog shit. And I was just...
Yeah, I didn't get it.
How can you give this movie the lowest rate? I mean, he's a reviewer. It's his opinion, whatever.
Like, well, here's my thing about Jeremy is I tend to always go back to him.
Yeah.
Like, he's my favorite. I've always, you know, felt the same about movies with the same as him. And when he didn't like it, I was like, well, this is interesting. He usually likes this type of stuff. Like, but he just re-reviewed Scream 4 for his October horror movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And he ended up liking Scream 4 way more than he did the first time he saw it.
That is a good point too, actually. And I've watched a few of his reviews recently, and he did say, when we reviewers review a movie for the first time, a lot of times we're seeing it fresh, like right after we saw it in the theater. A lot of times our opinions on a movie are going to change with each new viewing. And I'm glad that he said that, because, I mean, I'm probably the poster boy for that. You know, I get shit about it because my mind changes on movies so much. You know, I've been rudely called names because of it, but I mean, it's my opinion. I'm not going to lie to you, right? If my opinion changes on a movie,
I didn't like the movie. I'm sorry.
That's I think that's part of what I love about movies. They affect me like that on such an emotional level, you know.
I didn't get that he didn't like Pray at Night. I mean, I know a lot of people were saying that, it's ripping off 80s movies, and I think Chris Tuckman said the same thing about it.
I didn't think it was ripping off 80s movies at all. I mean, there's tons of cases of movies ripping off 80s movies, and Pray at Night is his own thing, you know. They weren't wearing 80s clothes. I don't know. I completely disagree.
It's riding the wave of all this nostalgia, and I'm like, okay, you've clearly only seen 4 slashers in your entire life.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that makes me, you know, it just gets under my skin is when people say, "Oh, I love horror movies, but I've never seen any of the sequels to Friday the 13th."
That's like a rite of passage.
12 of them. Like, how have you never seen a Friday the 13th sequel? But it's just because it calls back to that slasher formula does not mean that it's ripping off 80s movies.
No, not at all. I mean, there's going to be similarities between slashers in general anyway, no matter what decade they came out. And if you want to, like, point to an 80s vibe, there are far more better examples than Strangers Pray at Night. I don't even think it's trying to copy the 80s. You know, I don't, maybe Bailey Madison's shirt.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just what Johannes Roberts. I mean, I think it's a good director.
Oh yeah,
I think he knew what horror fans wanted to see. And then that's what horror fans want to see, in my opinion. And then you get a general audience that goes into these movies and is seeing what everybody else is putting out right now, and they think, oh, this movie is ripping it off. That's not the case at all.
We got off on a rant here, didn't we?
Yeah, well, that's me getting very, very passionate.
I know. I do it too, man. I get passionate about movies sometimes. I got another one here. It says, it will get better after high school, they said. It will be fun, they said. Poor Sidney Prescott, right?
Well, just like you said about that evolution, the arcs of characters in your newest video.
Yep.
I think she has one of the best arcs in all of horror.
I actually mentioned her, and I said if you look at her from the first movie to the fourth movie, she does have an amazing arc. And in my criteria in that video was it had to be one movie, and you're probably right. But the reason I didn't put Sydney on the list is because I think Sydney, from the beginning of the movie, is a strong type of character. I didn't think she was, like a shrinking violet type of character. She came across as like tough. And because here's a good example. In the beginning, when she's in the house by herself and Ghostface calls her, and she doesn't act like she's scared at all. She literally like makes fun of him. And to me, that's a strong character right from the get-go. She
thinks he's Randy.
She does, but...
And Randy is a weaker character.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know. I think my thing too, what I was saying was, I think from a script standpoint, if a writer wants you to know that a character is weak at the beginning, they're going to tell you that. There's going to be a line of dialogue, like what I was saying with Rachel in Halloween 4, the beginning of the movie. She literally states, I don't want to babysit my foster sister. I want to go. And by the end of the movie, she's literally getting in front of her repeatedly. So to me, that was more of an arc. But
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
Even though, I got my problems with Halloween 4, but I can see that.
Halloween 4 is perfect. What are you talking about?
Perfect.
Okay, next funny. He's right behind you. Every modern day horror movie. And that's... You can't even argue with that.
Right. And if anybody in the chat doesn't know anything about me, I love Halloween 5.
Well, yeah, Halloween 5 definitely has its fans. And I'm one of them, warts and all. And it's one of those movies, like, I can have fun with it. I can laugh at the bad, and there's a lot of bad in it. But it's so interesting. Christian Hanna Horror, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Nice to see you in here. But yeah, I like Halloween 5. And if you tell me it's bad, I'll agree with you. But it's just one of those bad movies that I enjoy watching.
It's a good bad movie.
Yeah, it's a good bad movie.
It's a good bad movie.
It's got Cookie Woman in it. What more do you want?
Cookie
Woman. People watching horror movies, me watching horror movies. That's horror fans in general. It takes a lot to really scare us.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, let me ask you this, Zach. Are you constantly chasing the scare, or at this point have you accepted that you can't be scared, so you're just looking for a good story?
I'm chasing quality content.
There you go. I think that's the good answer.
Honestly, because I haven't been scared by a horror movie in a long time.
Oh, me neither.
I've seen so many horror movies that it just... Justice for Tina. There you go, Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last movie that actually legitimately freaked me out was The Sixth Sense.
Well, yeah, that's a good example. I can say, oh, that's scary, but I'm not scared. You know what I mean? But I know what makes a good scary scene, and I know that some people are going to be scared by that scene. And so I'll be watching a movie. It might surprise me, but I'm not scared by it, but I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's scary. I think the thing that gives me more of a reaction is just like what the fuck moments. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those get more of a reaction out of me than actual scary scenes. I'd like to be scared again, but it's hard to be shook up by a movie these days.
You know what I think might actually have some genuinely scary scenes, and it's a movie that's being ready to be shot.
Yeah.
It's Me, Billy.
Oh, man, I can't. And I'm not saying this because I'm friends with Dave McCray. I'm such a fan of Black Christmas, and I'm so pissed off at that last remake, like literally pissed off, that, and I know Dave knows the essence of Black Christmas.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we're going to get in this one, you know. And even the 2006 remake, as fun as it is, I actually enjoyed that one. It doesn't have the same vibe as the first movie. I think It's Me Billy's going to have that. And have you seen like his behind the scenes videos that he's done? They're coming to play.
This is why I say that this movie is going to have some genuinely scary scenes.
Yeah,
is because he did this camera test, right? And they show him, and I know he's not the actor playing Billy,
right?
But they show him sitting in a chair, and they show the light filter right over top of the light,
right?
And they get this shot of Dave half in darkness with this like really creepy look on his face, super unsettling.
Oh, I've seen that. I saw that.
Just imagine if there's a scene in that short where the main character is like in a hallway, and then all you can see behind her is blackness, and you see the creepy ass face of Billy faintly in the background.
Oh, Dave's really into lighting. Like that's a big thing for him.
That would scare the shit out of me. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, and lighting's very important. I mean, I'm kind of that way too. Like you give me good lighting in a horror movie, you get me halfway there. You know, I like visually striking horror movies.
And if he sees this and I ruined the scare, I'm sorry. I love you, Dave.
I'm just kind of playing the funnies in the background while we're talking.
I really do think that he's gonna deliver. I really do. I was actually just talking to somebody about this earlier today.
Isn't it going to be like what, 30 minutes or something like that?
30 to 40 minutes. I think it's not going to be very long, but
yeah.
From what we've seen and the talent that he has, and I think it is going to be on the Never Hike Alone level.
Yeah.
Like I think it's going to be that.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be on that level too. It's just, Vincent, man, he just constantly is getting all this praise so deservedly. And I remember one guy posted today that studios need to be paying Vincent at this point because of the quality of work that he's putting out, and a lot of other fans, like even Jimmy Champagne, man, that quality of that freaking Halloween short that he did, that was insane.
Produced by Vincent.
Yeah, just came out of nowhere, and I was just like, I remember I was sitting down, I was gonna watch this Happy Halloween. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a little fun, Jimmy, he had fun. He made a little Halloween, and I was like, holy shit, this is freaking amazing.
It's really good, man. I really liked it. I still need to finish the rest of Halloween Inferno, but I heard that the last.
That's great. That's great, man. I tell you, if anything, production value is like at an all-time high with fan films right now.
Right.
Really
speaking of fan films, I didn't know if you wanted to get into this or not.
Yeah, actually, I was going to jump into this now because we pretty much just finished with Funnies.
I'll let you take the reins here because I know what you're going to talk about.
Okay. Well, I guess it's a good way to start this because if you remember the last time Zack was here, he was doing a Scream fan film called He Knows Your Name. And
yes,
unfortunately, and I think people don't realize this, there's like a window there to contribute to these things, And I was reading. I didn't finish the script yet, but I was reading it. And I really liked the characters, and that's the thing that Scream is known for, is characters. And Zack really knows, how important a good character is in a movie. And it's a shame because you're one of so many people that I've seen, Zack, that have tried their hand at a fan film, and unfortunately, it didn't quite make the budget that they needed. It happens so many times, and so many great stories, potentially great movies, they go by the wayside because we just don't get a chance. Looking back on the experience now of He Knows Your Name, and we're going to get into your new venture, but looking back on that experience, is there anything that you feel like you learned from it, if anything?
Well, I think that it was a learning experience, and that you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And I was prepared as I thought I was going to need to be for it. And there's just a lot of things that didn't happen the way that they needed to happen. I did a lot of promotion. The actors did a lot of promotion. I had a lot of friends helping me out with it, and unfortunately, it just didn't get the backing that it needed.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things happening at the same time. I mean, It's Me, Billy, speaking of that, was being funded at the same time.
Yeah, that can be a factor too, for sure.
And I don't have that as big of a reach as a Dave McCray or even Lee. So a lot of people weren't seeing the videos that I was putting out for it. I did a bunch of live streams and posted every single day on different projects, but or different Facebook groups.
And I'm gonna be honest, like brutally honest with you. And I told you this before. I said, I think one thing that might have helped is your teaser, because I remember your teaser. It was just really basic. It was just kind of a pan over to the mask. The music was great, but
Stephen Arthur.
Yeah, it was just Stephen Arthur's. You really had all the aspects that you needed for a great fan film. You had a great cast, great music, and what I told you was, like, I think if you would have maybe taken a day and just maybe created a scene or something like that, something to really show the audience, wow, okay, this is going to be great, because a lot of times just one scene can really get an audience. It can wet their whistle and make them like jump to support it. If I can give you an example, Damian Maffey, he was doing an independent film, and before they even started shooting it, he just did one little scene in like this auditorium.
It's a very good scene,
and it's a great scene. It's a great scene, and immediately people started jumping on it.
Yeah, he's actually a very good actor, if people didn't know. Damien is extremely talented. Really nice guy, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Damien's awesome. But one thing that I find so admirable about you, Zach, is that you dusted yourself off. The campaign window passed, and you were like, you know what? What's next? You're so passionate about film and making your own movie that you were like, okay, I fell. I'm going to get back up, and I'm going to try something different. And so Zach's got this new project called Devil's Night, which I think I'm shocked that nobody else has picked up on that name. Obviously, like The Crow is like one of my favorite all-time movies. Number 2.
Good. Mine too.
The fact that nobody's taken that Devil's Night theme and made a slasher out of it. So right now we're timestamping this. That's your baby. So tell me where you're at in the stages of making this fan film. Like where are you at in the production?
It's not a fan film.
Why not say fan film? Independent film.
It's okay. Just to clarify.
That's even more exciting too, because you're creating something completely original.
It's original. Yeah. It's an original film written by me. And it was actually written 3 years ago, in 2017.
Wow.
But unfortunately, after some talks with my producer that I will be talking about here in a minute, it was very expensive, the movie that I had written. Probably $1 million budget, at least. Because we obviously couldn't film where I wanted to film for it. But I had a lot of talks, and we found a way to lower the budget quite a bit. It's not going to be quite as much. It's a more intimate story now. And it calls back to like the early 2000s, late 90s horror movies.
Right.
There's a lot of homages there. You get a little bit of The Fog. You get a little bit of Scream. You get a little bit of possession films. There's slasher elements to this. It's a horror amalgamation, a chimera, if you will. And it goes back to that time where horror was just fun.
Yeah.
Really fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but there are some really good dramatic notes in the script, in my opinion. Really likable characters. I think people are really going to like the characters.
I'm actually pulling up the poster for it right now. You guys can see the actual poster.
That was... I cannot, for the life of me, pronounce his last name. Raphael. You can find him on Instagram.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic artist. This is the poster. Lee's gonna get it queued up for you.
Yeah,
here.
it's up there right now, so you should see it any second now. But man, I love this freaking poster too.
But he and I come up with this really, really cool poster. He worked off my notes for it. And that's in a nutshell what you're gonna get for this movie. And it's got that like Netflix feel, which is kind of what I was going for, because there are plans to try to get it on streaming services, if we can get it going. And that's a good segue. I wanted to tell you guys about a project that I am actually a producer on. If this is okay, Lee.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm a producer on a film called Shadow Marsh. Matt Fessel.
He was in there earlier too.
He was in the chat earlier. He's part of the project. It's being directed by Matt Liel. Really, really awesome guys. And they were actually originally going to be on He Knows Your Name. They were going to shoot it. Matt Liel was going to shoot the film, and Fessel was going to do the sound. But they are working on a project right now called Shadow Marsh, and it is like a culty film on creature feature.
Yeah, well, that's one thing I like about Matt and his brother, man. They're creative in terms of like the stories that they try to tackle, you know, like
absolutely.
Like Shadow Marsh sounds really, but I mean, he did one that's kind of like Unfriended. It's one of those like laptop horror movies.
It's very good.
Yeah, I mean, he's been working in the business for a couple years now. I mean, we all started like 5 years ago, and he had a YouTube channel, which he still has, but he jumped out and he actually works in the business as a sound guy. And so he knows the ins and outs of the business. And if you ever wanted to like get in, and he's like one of the nicest guys too. So if you ever had any questions, if you're thinking about getting in the business, making your own fan film, Matt Fessel would be a great place to freaking start, because he's more than happy to help anybody.
And yes, absolutely. He's very, very, very passionate, and he will talk to anybody about it. But this film, let me tell you, It started out with a $15,000 budget, right? This is what they were asking for on Indiegogo. It ended up making $25,000.
Jesus.
Okay. And it's got star power too. I mean, it's got Felissa Rose.
Yeah.
Yes, that Felissa Rose, Angela. So.
Well, he was originally going to call it something else, and then they had some kind of.
They had an issue.
Yeah, there was like a legal issue or something like that. So they ended up going with a different name, which was Shadow Marsh.
These guys are out there making this film. They're going to shoot it here very soon, and I just wanted to plug that there for them.
Yeah, and look at it. If you look on Facebook too, there's like a page for Shadow Marsh. Just type in Shadow Marsh in Facebook, and you can find it. I'm telling you, seek Matthew Fessel out. He's like one of the coolest guys. One of the just a great friend. And he just loves the horror community. You know, he's one of those guys. He's the real deal. He just loves the horror community.
And with that being said, those two guys, Matt Liel and Matt Fessel, will also be involved with Devil's Night.
Nice.
So I'm still going strong, guys.
Do you have any like projected time frames when you would like to, get things going production wise? When the Indiegogo could start?
The Indiegogo probably won't start until January.
Okay.
Because I'm still doing a lot of stuff with the script. The script is going through a final draft.
Okay.
So it's just being tightened. Characters are being tightened. Different dialogue scenes. Really just, spicing it up. I sent it out to a few different people, got my notes back, and we are working to give you a really, really cool story. So...
Now, you might have said this earlier, but is there a certain horror movie that you kind of looked to for influence on this Devil's Night? The
Crow, actually.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
The Crow was one of those movies. The Fog was another one as well.
Yeah, I remember you saying The Fog, which that got my attention because I freaking love The Fog.
The Fog is a great movie. Yeah. I thought Devil's Night needed to have something unique about it.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of movies that take place the night before Halloween.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies that take place on Halloween. And this calls back to that Mischief Night.
Yeah.
Which is what you mentioned in The Crow. It's a callback to one of my favorite films. The Crow is probably my third favorite movie of all time. Brandon Lee. But that's, one of my driving motivations for it was to, make another holiday themed horror film, but not really. So it's got, like I said, it's got a lot of different aspects to it.
Well, we'll definitely be looking for it down the line. I would tell you guys to make sure you subscribe to Zack's channel, Cavern of Terror. The at Cavern of Terror, that's his Instagram. So follow him there, so that way you guys can, follow the progress of Devil's Night, because I want this to be made. I wanted He Knows Your Name to be made, and that still might be on the table. So
maybe.
You never know.
Awesome. I mean, how did you feel about?
We got to jump into some Scream 5 talk before we leave, okay? Just so you know. So don't worry, chat. Scream 5 is coming. We're talking about Scream 5. Go ahead, Zach.
I mean, I just want to know, seeing that you were someone that actually read the work, how did you feel about it from what you read?
Well, the big thing I liked about it, from what I read, because like I said, I didn't finish it, but I really liked the characters. Especially the main character, Riley. You said her name was Riley?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really liked Riley, because obviously you're not going to have a Sidney Prescott in this, but I don't know. Riley gave me those. She's very innocent, but she also had a little bit of a toughness to her. Yeah, and I think that's a good start with for any story. You want to gravitate towards a character that you can like, and I really liked her as a character, so I thought it was a good start. I definitely want to finish the script, but I liked what I read so far. I didn't get to like the dark stuff yet with like the killer and all that, so that's what I'm looking forward to.
It was a good time writing it though. That went through 4 drafts. Just letting everybody know. That changed quite a bit.
Now, is that script like available for others to read, or is that something that you're holding close to the vest?
There may be something eventually, if nothing does happen with it.
Yeah.
There may be something there for people to read.
Okay.
So keep your eyes out for that.
Okay. Now, we did talk about Scream 5 earlier, but I will say,
Scream 5. Let's get into it.
I want to ask you, what just basically, what do you want out of Scream 5 that we don't know yet? Because we don't know that much yet at all. That's the one thing about the Scream franchise, is they hold a lot close to the vest. They don't tell anything. So what kind of surprises would you like to see?
Well, considering the film is done, it was shot in 2 months.
Yeah,
which is crazy. It's just crazy to think that there is a new Scream film out there finished, and we have to wait until 2022 to see it. But it's a smart decision. I just think that, maybe a couple of like deep cut horror nods would be interesting to see. Yeah. Because I know that the guys from Radio Silence are horror fans through and through. They love it. Yeah. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to actually make action movies too. There's a really cool interview with them on Dead Meat, the Dead Meat podcast. Yeah. James. They interviewed them. It's really cool. Listen, if you want to listen to that. I just want good characters. I want good characters, and I want a solid story. Yeah. Because that's what makes Scream. If you don't care about the story and don't care about the characters, you're in for a rough time. Oh, definitely. And there's a lot of characters in this movie as well.
Well, one thing I want, and I'm seeing a lot of people, talk about callbacks, and I've even said it myself. I'd love to see Matthew Lillard come back. And I'm all for returning characters, especially surprise returns. But what I will say is, in the end of the day, I want Scream 5 to stand on its own. I don't want to watch Scream 5 and be reminded of Scream 1, Scream 2, Scream 3, whatever. I want it to completely stand on its own and just deliver something fresh and new. Because if you don't get something fresh and new, then what's the point of having these new directors doing this movie? And I think that's what they want. I think they want to bring something interesting and maybe some big surprises to the table. I want some really great killer or killers at the end. That's the thing too, is like, how do you, I mean, you've had 2 killers, you've had 1 killer.
Right.
So what do you do now at this point? That's got to be a lot of pressure.
And you've had a television series that's had several killers.
Yeah.
So you have to be, like, personally, the last really good killer was Beth in Scream Season 3. I think Beth was a awesome. Fantastic killer.
I really liked Beth, actually.
I know a lot of people hate Scream Season 3, but I loved it.
I enjoyed it, and I would say, and I was so against it because I wanted to see a conclusion to Scream 1 and 2, Seasons 1 and 2, but I liked how gritty and how different it was, and Beth, I think, was that one constant throughout that I was just constantly on board with. And they got me, too, because I thought, nah, she's not going to be the killer. I want her to be the killer, right, but she's not going to be the killer. And then, boom, oh, shit, man, that's...
I thought it was going to be Keke Palmer. I thought she was going to be the killer.
Yeah, so it surprised me. Whereas I wasn't that impressed by Season 1 and 2, the killers in there. I was like, whatever. But
I tried it. You know how I feel about Scream, the series.
Yeah.
I started to watch Season 1 again, and I made it to the same point I made it to again. And I got bored, and I didn't finish it. It's just not as good as the movies. I've tried.
I have a good time with it. Don't get me wrong. I do have a good time with the first 2 seasons. I thought I was going to hate it. I think in one of my Drumdums drives that I did 4 years ago, I remember stating that I am completely against any type of Scream TV show. I remember stating that. I will not watch it. It's going to be horrible. And I ended up watching it and enjoying it. So, Dino, what's up, brother? Nice to see Dino in here.
There was another thing I was going to ask.
About the TV show?
No, about the Scream 5. Well, obviously it's not called Scream 5, but us Scream fans know that it's Scream 5. Is there anything... do you feel like there's going to be a flashback sequence?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't even think about that. I don't think there will be. Unless there's something so important to the plot that has to do with the past, which that's very possible. I mean, Sidney Prescott's back in this thing, but here's my question for you. Do you think Sidney Prescott's going to be the main character, or do you think they're going to introduce new main characters?
There will be new main characters. I think this is going to be very much like Scream 4, that the new main characters will be the main part of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to treat... Obviously, they can't do it because it'd be the same movie again. They're not going to treat Neve Campbell the same way that they treated her in Scream 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think something is going to call her to Woodsboro. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
And then you're going to have these other characters there dealing with this as well. Because the killer is part of their friend group. Okay? And there's a reason that she comes to this town again.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say why, because I don't want to make people cry. And I don't know anything, but I'm pretty sure that I got a feeling that she's going to be back for something very sad.
Yeah.
But I feel like there could possibly be a flashback sequence because there is a picture that Kevin Williamson took that looks like it's in front of Stu's house from the original.
Oh.
Why would they be there? And on the back porch, you can see a person in the background wearing a Woodsboro Letterman's jacket.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't wear them anymore. I had this conversation in a Scream group where people were saying, I think the person was in high school still.
Yeah.
And said that a lot of the people in high school on sports teams that are Letterman don't wear the Letterman's jackets. So if it's a callback, or a flashback sequence, what are we going to see in that scene? Now, personally, for me, if you go to the IMDb for Scream,
yep,
none of the main characters, other than the 2 leads and then the rest of the legacy characters, have names. What if Kyle Gallner is Billy Loomis in a flashback?
I don't think they're gonna do that. I see what you're saying. He's a Billy Loomis type, but I would be
You
shocked.
obviously
if they
can't
do
get
that.
Skeet Ulrich to do it. He's 20 years old. So I mean, and you don't have the kind of CGI that Ant-Man does that makes Michael Douglas look 30 years younger.
Plus, I mean, if you're getting a Kyle Gallner, you're going to pay for that, and that means he's going to have some substantial dialogue in the thing. Otherwise, they're just going to get a Skeet Ulrich look-alike. If you're just going to do a quick flashback for no reason whatsoever, that's what
it might not be. It might not be a quick scene. What if it's
it could be. It could be more. But
what if it's actually the opening of the movie?
That's the thing too about flashbacks is I don't want like a flashback to bog down the story. I want to keep the story pushing forward. And if they're, I don't know, you're getting yourself into trouble if you're going back to the first movie again because they did that with Scream 3.
Well, this would be the way that I would do it would be different. What I would do in the very beginning of it is I would make the flashback sequence the cold open.
Yeah.
And then what I would do is
that's a safe bet.
Show you young Billy. And then show you something shocking, and then cut to the opening.
You know what? Too, this day and age, if they did have a young Billy, I think they would CGI him for a cold opening. I think they would CGI him if it's just a quick scene, because they could do that these days. Easily.
Friday the 13th, 2009, 20-minute cold open.
Yeah. What's up, Mikey? What's up, brother? Hell yeah.
I don't feel like this movie has the budget to do a de-aging. And have it look believable.
I don't know. I mean, cause
really
have you seen some of the filters that they freaking use for these things these days? I don't know. I think they could do it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely think we're gonna get a flashback sequence. I don't know why else we would be at that house on Turner Lane. I
don't think they're gonna rock the boat too much, though. I think that they're gonna make a Scream movie. There's gonna be twists. It's gonna be funny. It's going to be fun. They're going to follow the formula, and they're going to try to make a movie that stands on its own. I don't think at the end of the day we're going to be like completely wow, they went a completely different. No, I think we're going to get a Scream movie. That's what I think, and that's what everybody wants. I'd even say like Scream 4 is like the darkest Scream movie, and it did probably the least successful financially. So I don't think they're going to want to rock the boat too much. They want to go back to, they want to Mustafa Akkad this bitch. They want to go back. I want to go back to the basics.
I still think they should Psycho 2 this bitch. But
yeah.
With my Stu storyline.
Yeah. Man.
But there's a lot of young actors in this that I like. I'm still very curious about what Dylan Minette's going to be in this movie, what his character is going to be. Because he's
that's right. I forgot he's in this. Got some big names in here.
Yeah, there's really good actors in this movie, and with the dude from The Boys, Jack Quaid.
Yeah.
Dennis Quaid's son.
He's in this too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man! Now you got, because I love him in The Boys.
He's the main character's boyfriend.
Hell yeah, dude! That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome.
And the girl, Jenna Ortega, right? She's in this movie.
Yep.
The new character from The Babysitter 2, the punk.
Wait, new character from Babysitter 2, the punk. I'm trying to think.
The new love.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, I like her.
She is in this movie.
Jesus, that's awesome.
So there's a lot of really, really good talent here. I'm excited for what they're gonna do. Like they've definitely assembled like the perfect directors, the great cast, and like I heard that the I don't know if this is confirmed, but I did hear that the composer that did the music for Ready or Not is going to do the music for this new movie too.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And he's a fantastic composer. So yeah. I mean, I think they're gonna. I think it's hitting on all cylinders right now, and like, I don't know. I really, really like them. If you haven't seen Southbound, that the Ready or Not Radio Silence guys did, they did the opening scene and the ending scene. It's a anthology.
Oh, okay. I think I've heard about Southbound.
Really, really, really good.
Yep.
Like the opening and the ending, awesome. And two of the guys from Radio Silence are the actual actors in it. One of the directors from this movie is one of the main characters in Southbound, and he's a great actor too. On top of
no shit,
really talented filmmaker.
See, that's why I brought you on the show, because you're the Scream guy. I'm the Halloween guy. You're the Scream guy. So, and I think
I've listened to so many interviews with these guys. Yeah.
I think Beth summed it up too. I just want to go to the theater and watch a horror movie. I'm hoping that we're out of this fucking mess by the time January 2022 comes. I want to see this. Let me ask the chat too. Does seeing Scream 5, I'm calling it Scream 5. Does seeing Scream 5 in the theater matter to you, or do you care to watch it on VOD? I want to see it in the theater. I really do. What about you, Zach?
I really do, personally, because I never seen a Scream movie in theaters.
No shit. Wow.
So, and it's my favorite franchise.
I've seen them all in the theater.
I haven't seen any of them in theaters, so I would really love to see, Scream 5 in theaters.
Did you just burp?
Yes, I didn't mean to. Sorry.
I've done it too. If I got a burp, I'm going to do it. I don't care.
I would just love to see it. I mean, I've seen.
Well, I mean, there's certain franchise, like any of the big three and Scream, I want to see them in the theater. I do. I want to see Halloween in the theater. I want to see Nightmare. I want to see Friday. There's something about seeing those big icons in the theater that you cannot get at home. And of course, we watch them over and over at home once they come out on. But the first time we watch those movies, we want to see them on the big screen. It's just something about it.
I couldn't imagine seeing Scream in theaters back in 1996.
Dude,
I couldn't have.
I saw it. It came out Christmas. I think I saw it Christmas Day. Back in 96. I remember me and my wife went and seen it, and we thought it was going to be nothing. You know, I didn't think it was going to be anything. And I just remember being blown away, like, wow, that was insane. That was great. That twist was crazy. Everybody was talking about it, and it stayed in theaters for months after.
Yeah. It stayed in theaters almost up to the release of Scream 2, which never happens.
Never. The power of Scream and the fever for that franchise at the time was just like probably unlike any other horror franchise I've seen. You know, Scream, I think, had the fever that other. I think Halloween 2018 was the first time I'd seen that type of fever, anticipation for a movie since Scream. No kidding.
Well, the only thing I noticed, like, really anticipated movie that I saw in theaters was The Grudge.
Yeah.
The American version of The Grudge. Yeah. I remember the line was going out of the theater, and that was for
The Grudge.
That was for The Grudge. So I can't imagine going to go see Scream 5 in theaters.
Telling you, dude, it was cool. It was a cool time to be. There was definitely like something in the air, you know, and it was awesome. And I'm hoping I want this movie to be huge, you know, because Scream 4 was just kind of a whimper, the box office wise. So I want people to just be like, wow, we're going to see a Scream movie, and, you know, lines out the theater. It'd be cool too if that was like one of the first big theater movies that's like 100% capacity, and it could be, you know, it could signal the beginning of something again. You know, it'd be cool.
Well, it's kind of interesting because Scream and Halloween are like bookending the year.
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing Scream in January, and then you're seeing Halloween in October. So, like, you get...
Well, we're seeing Halloween in October 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then right after, we're seeing Scream.
And then right after that, Scream comes out.
Yeah, so I mean, that's... Like, I guess you're right. I'm hoping to God that Halloween Kills is going to be not only in theaters, but I want them to be at 100% capacity. Seeing a Halloween movie in the theater and there's only 3 people in the theater...
Right.
For me, it's an audience thing. I like feeding off of that excitement in the audience. You know, the crowd freaking out when they see Myers coming behind somebody, or Ghostface, you know, killing somebody.
Oh, I'm ready for the Ghostface scenes.
Oh, yeah. So, Ghostface is a fun killer.
Did you see Wes Craven's New Nightmare in theaters?
No.
You didn't?
No, and I've never been a big fan of Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's okay, but I think, I mean, Freddy only kills like once in that movie, I think, or something like that.
It's my second favorite Nightmare movie.
I've tried to give it a chance so many times, but I put Freddy's Revenge high above New Nightmare.
Freddy's Revenge. Yeah.
And Dream Warriors, oh my God, Dream Warriors, like, freaking New Nightmare doesn't even like hold a candle to freaking Dream Warriors.
Well, see, I think because New Nightmare is such a different movie.
It's different. Yeah.
It's almost not part of the franchise because it's Okay, Wes Craven made a sequel to his movie.
Yeah.
Is what he did. Like he negated all of the other sequels. He did a sequel to his movie.
I appreciate what Wes was trying to do, and I think Wes, that was his baby when it started, you know,
Right.
and then he had to give over his baby to Robert Shea. And so all those years he'd see all these movies coming out, and of course in his mind these are crap. That's what you're going to think about somebody else handling your baby. So when he came back with New Nightmare, you know, I'm sure Wes thought it was going to be like huge, but I think timing was a big part of it. And I just didn't think New Nightmare was as great as it should have been. So
he wanted his original idea for it cost a lot. And New Line didn't have the money for it.
Yeah.
So they didn't get this big ending that they wanted, which we did get a big ending for it, but it was originally a lot bigger in the script. Like, it would have cost way more money.
I could be way off on this, but I've often compared New Nightmare to H2O. For some reason, it feels like PG-13 horror almost. Even though it's technically R, it doesn't feel as graphic as the rest of the franchise. And there's some people in the chat that might love New Nightmare and H2O. Right. But I get it's all tastes, you know? It's all what we like.
I used to love H2O, and I still get some enjoyment out of it, but ever since I saw the rest of the Halloween sequels, it just doesn't stand up to them.
No.
Like, it doesn't have the atmosphere. It doesn't feel like any of the other movies. I don't really care about any of the characters except for Laurie. Like, it's just... I care about her son, but it's very clear that they wanted to move forward with new characters, but yet they wanted to tell this Laurie story again.
Well, that's the true sequel I would like.
Out of it was stupid.
Like, how cool would it be if freaking Josh Hartnett came back and played that character, and let's say the mother died, Jamie Lee Curtis is dead, and let's don't make an H2O vibe movie, though. Let's make a freaking, I'll even say it, a Halloween 2018. The vibe of Halloween 2018, I think that they were dead on with the way you wanted to go, how dark and gritty you wanted to go. As many faults as Halloween 2018 has, it definitely has that tone. I mean, perfectly down. It has the perfect mirror. So you put Josh Hartnett in a story like that, I would eat it up. I think it would be awesome, actually.
That's the next thing. This is what I want to tell anybody. If anybody wants to make a fan film, okay, this is what I want to see. Because Mike and Jay just talked about this not too long ago in one of their newer videos. Halloween 9. Let's tell the story of the sequel to Resurrection. Let's bring back Josh Hartnett's character, his character, and tell that story. I want to see the sequel to that movie. If anybody wants to make
the John Tate movie,
John Tate movie,
and you know what? You don't have to have a female, a final girl. Make this movie about John Tate.
Boom! He's the main character. He went back to Haddonfield for whatever reason. Yep. So then you have your Halloween field. There's tons of places around where I live that look exactly like Haddonfield.
And Dockin' rocks. They definitely rock.
And then just do that, man. Just do it.
Just do it.
Like, that's the fan film I want to see. That's the Halloween fan film I want to see. And if anybody wants to make that, I'll write it for you.
Yep. All right, I think we got to wrap it up here, guys. I mean, I went 20 minutes over, but we just couldn't stop talking. It was so fun talking about Scream, and I could talk for another 2 hours. That's why I love freaking talking. It's a fun franchise to discuss, actually, because there's so much going on, and it's hard to even pack it into 2 hours. But Zack, man, I thank you so much for coming on again. Definitely want to get you back. Maybe I'll get you back on here to actually talk about something other than Scream. I don't know. Would you be down?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about anything.
Yeah, man.
I'm always.
We're all horror fans here, right?
Like
Michael Myers is dead.
Michael Myers is dead, and my hair is awful.
I like the way he said that. Michael Myers is dead. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I love that scene. That scene is actually really good.
It is a good scene. Charlie, go wait in the car.
Go wait in the car.
You go wait in the car.
That's the kid from Jumanji, isn't it?
I think so. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna hang it up for tonight, man. This was fun. We could do a Scream Part 2 if we wanted to. Another live stream, because man.
Well, when that trailer comes out, you know.
Oh my God, yeah, we'll definitely jump on board for that. Can't wait for that. They got they finished shooting, so we got to get some kind of
So
teaser. I would
quickly.
think within
There's
the next
gotta
couple months.
be a teaser soon or a poster or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, anything you want to plug or any kind of content that you got coming up besides your fan film, Zach, or do you want to just say goodbye and tell the audience that you love them to death or whatever?
Well, I'll get to all that. I just wanted to say Shadow Marsh. If you guys want to check it out on Indiegogo. It's got a lot of really cool stuff going on with that. And if you want to see an example of some of the stuff that I did, film-wise, just go to my Cavern of Terror YouTube channel. I have a short called Web. It's only 5 minutes long. It was written, directed, and starred me. I edited it as well.
Oh, nice.
It's on my channel if you want to check it out. It was the first pro-ish thing I've ever done. I did do another short before, but it's really bad. So
make sure you type something in the chat too, so they can find your channel. Or I'll put a link to your channel in the info box anyway. So
yeah, but you can find me at Cavern of Terror.
Yeah, Cavern of Terror. It's not that hard.
Yeah, if you wanna check out some original stuff that I've done, I have a backlog of reviews. They're very old now, but if you want to see some of the stuff, I reviewed the entire Scream franchise, reviewed every episode.
Oh yeah,
of
man,
Scream
you've done a
3,
lot of franchises.
Scream season 3. Did all the Halloween movies with this guy right here.
Yep. Type something in the chat too, so they can
hour-long video on the entire Nightmare on Elm Street series. Told you my thoughts on every single movie in one video. Web was really cool. Thank you, Chris. Chris actually watched Web.
Oh, nice.
And he loved it. But yeah, stay tuned for Devil's Night. I'm doing a series on my channel. That is actually something that's coming to my channel. It's called The Road to Devil's Night. And I'm going to talk about the updates as we go. I also have a group for it as well. Devil's Night Film Group on Facebook.
Yep.
If you want to check that out.
Yeah, guys, pay attention to those updates on Devil's Night. Make sure to watch when the Indiegogo comes on. Make sure you jump on there. Support independent films. It's up to you guys. It's up to us, really. So, anyway. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next Thursday's Thanksgiving week, so I'll probably be skipping next week, or maybe I'll do the weekend. We'll figure it out. But I always love doing Thursday nights with you guys. So I'll keep you guys up to date on when the next DDLive is, okay? Take care. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.